Hello. Hello, everyone. So, this is Use Your Weapon. Thank you for joining. Okay, I have to close some things, so give me a second, guys. Oh, my goodness. I'm embarrassed that I have so many things to close. Okay, let's see if this helps. Okay. So, this is Use Your Weapon. My name is the Epiphanis. And today's topic is the system mundane? Is this system mundane? We have to worry about that. We have to ask ourselves these relevant questions because it just makes sense to ask relevant questions, right? So, today's topic again is the system mundane. Could I sell you the story of Jesus today? If I tried to sell you the story of the magnificent baby Jesus, could it work? Could it work? So if I couldn't sell you the story of Jesus today, you have to think about that. So the conversation today is about, is the system mundane? Is it mundane? Is spirituality relevant in the system, in the religious system today? So we've already talked about the absolute, religious versus the absolute. Religion has changed over the years. We've had Christianity, we still do. We've got Islam, we have Buddhism, we have Jehovah Witnesses. Religion tends to continue to change. So we know that that is something that just continues to keep changing. You know. So I want to know: could I sell you the story of Jesus today? Could I sell you religion today? Because we talked about what a guru was in the first series of this journey here with me. And so this is Use Your Weapon. My name is the Epiphanis, and on my on this show we talk about a lot of things, that all things spirituality. We talk about religion, we talk about the Bible, we talk about logic, we talk about the journey past Jesus. I have taken this journey and I've moved past Jesus, and I say to you that it is a journey, because you have to understand where you are in the process, where you are in the story. So we went over what is a God. What is a God is relevant to your journey. What do you consider to be a God? And then we thought about a guru. What is a guru? What do you consider to be a guru? What's a guru? So when I ask the question of what is a God versus what is a guru, that's my starting point, because we determined that the guru is only separate from you because the guru has an obedience. The guru is determined to be obedient to the spirit. The guru has said to you and said to himself that no matter what the spirit gives me, no matter what I want to do, I will concede to the spirit. And that is just the difference between you and the guru. You and the guru is the difference between obedience. And the guru's obedience is fixed. It's a fixed item, obedience. And so when I ask you, was Jesus a God or was he a guru? You have to answer that for yourself now that you know what the difference of the guru and you is. The difference is the guru's obedience is fixed. There's nothing that the spirit can say. If the spirit say fast 40 days, the guru does so. The guru Buddha, he went on months of fasting. So you got to understand the obedience is the difference in the guru and in you. So do you godify the guru Now, you do understand that the guru does have the personality of God, because the guru is what you're seeking to be like. That's the reason why you call him guru or her guru. They're teaching you something. So we talked about disciples. We talked about discipleship. We talked about the depiction of disciples in the Michelangelo story of the Last Supper. You had Jesus in the middle and you had his 6 disciples on each side. The number 12 means something in the universe. So we talked about disciple succession. There's always one coming. There's always one coming. A child shall lead them. There's always a child coming. There's always one coming. Go to any maternity ward. They're coming. So we also talked about in one of our other podcasts, we understood that the assignment is us. When the assignment is you, when you understand that you're the assignment, you become relative in the story. You're not waiting on any type of material matter to come out of the sky. You become relative in the story. So when you start to understand that you're the hero in your story, you are what you're waiting on. The assignment is actually you. So again, this is Use Your Weapon. I'm the Epiphanist, and we talk about all things spirituality here. We talk about all things. We talk about the Bible because the Bible is one of the greatest books of wisdom, but we also talk about moving past the God-man Jesus and standing on spirituality. And when you stand on spirituality, when you stand on what is facts, what you know to be, it's a different confidence. It's a different stand. You walk, you talk, you become different. You become mature. So I say to you, get wisdom, get knowledge, but above all the getting, above all the 66 chapters in that book, it kind of is relevant when you think about it. Above all the things that that book has to say, it tells you that understanding this book is key. Get understanding above it, because wisdom is knowledge applied. If you get wisdom and you don't apply it, it doesn't become relative. It doesn't become knowledge. You can't stand on it. You can't walk in righteousness. All of it is a path, if you feel where I'm going. So we talked about a word called counterintuitiveness. Counterintuitiveness means often, nevertheless, contrary to intuition or common sense expectation, it's true. Common sense has been removed from a lot of things. So the question today is this system getting mundane? Could I sell you the story of Jesus today? Is it relative? Is it filling up churches today? Is the story of Jesus just filling up churches today? This is your relativeness. But these are relative, we need to start asking relative questions. Into relative inquiries. This relative questions are how you understand. But above all, you're getting. So we talked about counterintuitiveness, just common sense. We talked about absolute versus religion, absolute being the things that we just can't, there's nothing that we can do understanding it or not understanding it. There's nothing that we can do to change it. Like understanding how we're rotating, we, science helps us understand it, but there's really not one thing we can do about it. It is absolute. So understanding absolute versus religion. There are things that are just absolute. So that's a coming into wisdom right there. They are just things that are just. So I want you to invite a friend to like, share, and comment. It would help. It definitely would help. Thanks. But we're going to go into a little bit better. Okay, so if we're trying to understand ourselves and we're trying to understand that the assignment is us, we are what we're waiting for. We are the material matter that we're waiting for. Our consciousness is going to propel us into our next state. The ancients and our ancients, if you're melanated, if you have melanin within, you have a certain understanding. The universe and the omniverse is 70% melanin, if you didn't know it. I think the scientists call it dark matter. And that's only because they don't know what's in it, because they can't see. It's dark. And we're of that same matter. So that matter speaks to us. You better know it. So I say to you, relative inquiries into the next transition. Jesus can take you somewhere, but at some point, you have to ask relative questions. Where are the aunties and uncles of Jesus? I mean, Mary had a whole family, and so did Joseph. There were two families coming together, and yet we can't find a cousin, an auntie, a distant cousin, 3 removed. We can't find one. Relative inquiries. And then we ask ourselves, Jesus supposedly got up, but where did he go? People will say, he got up. Yeah. And they never finish that statement. Where did he go? Where did anybody go? My ancients, they left proof. The pyramids are proof of one. We're going to leave it there. So we talked about infantilization. This is a big word, because you got to understand that if you're melanated, you had an oppressor on this planet. And there is one group of society that has made countless promises to another. Now, these are not anything other than facts. There's one group of society that has made they've made just countless promises. I think you know what and who. We don't even have to go there. Because this is not about that. This show is about spirituality. Use Your Weapon is about spirituality and religion. And maybe even finding the difference, It's my journey off of Jesus, moving past him. And I want to say this because when you decide to understand that you're the hero in the story and everything is relative to your thinking, your right mind, your righteous path for your name's sake, you know, when you understand that everything is about you making it to the next dispensation. When you get that right thinking, you understand that there are just some things I just have to deal with. And then it matures you. You know, the first thing on your good books in your Bible, it says that, you know, when you find this Jesus in your Bible, it's supposed to establish you. So in my right thinking, when you find right thinking, when you find the one that you're seeking, it establishes you. That's how you know. All of the things that are promised are rewarded for righteous thinking. Now, this is not a story for people who cannot move past Jesus. If you cannot move past Jesus, if you cannot see yourself in your ancestors, because my story and this journey, Use Your Weapon, is about spirituality. And in that spirituality, you'll realize that you'll find yourself. And when you find yourself, you'll find your grandmother. You'll find your grandmother. You'll find your grandfather. You'll find your aunts and your uncles, because out of one comes many. So when you start to find those things, when spirit comes to you, those things will show up. Ancestors will show up on the behalf of spirit. In Christianity, they call them angels. But you know them by their spirit. You know them. You know them. When they come to you, you know them. You will know your grandmother outside of the material matter that her spirit was housed in. You will know when she shows up for you. You will know your mother in the spirit. Because after all, you good Christians understand that flesh and blood won't enter in anyway. So we talked about putting down childish thinking. And that is a part of what your oppressor gave along with religion. Infantilization. When you treat someone as a child in a way in which it denies their maturity in age and experience. Your oppressor gave you something. Breaking curses, breaking strongholds. This word is one of those curses. And if we're not doing this to ourselves now with the lack of knowledge, then, you know, now remember this word, counterintuitive. Often, nevertheless, it is true. Common sense. Often, nevertheless, is true. So I say to you, counterintuitiveness is something that you need to add to your thoughts, to your thinking. Common sense. We talked about asking relative questions. We talked about living a relative life. We talked about relative energy. Everything here in the word relative, everything should be coming together because it's all relative. Is this system mundane? We also talked about anything not growing is dead. If you have people in your life, if you have I have a plant outside. I left it outside and it got cold. I guess the leaves withered up. It's not growing anymore. So essentially it's dead. And I don't know if it's going to come back at all. but it's not growing. Essentially, it's dead. So anything not growing is dead. Now, these aren't anything other than facts. So we talked about trying to understand the guru. We talked about the absolute. I want to also encourage you to understand or ask yourself internal dependence. What do I depend on internally? A lot of us have a lot of external dependencies. Like, I depend on my car to crank when I depend on it. I depend on my money to buy what I need. There's just certain things in the material world I depend on. But internally, what do you depend on? What gives you oil? What and who brightens your lamp? Your lamps of wisdom out there, what and who brightens them? These are relative questions to find spirit. Who and what fills your oil? Now, if you're looking for religion, you can get in the car and you can Google some churches. But I'm here to help you find spirit, and these are some of the ways that I was introduced to spirit on my journey past Jesus. So we also talked about a proverb. When you sit into your churches and your pews and your religious masters tell you to turn to books of Proverbs in your Bibles, you understand what a proverb is. A proverb is wisdom and discretion. So when you get a proverb, you get a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of discretion. Really, a proverb is a short statement with some generality and some truth attached to it. Some advice, really. Some truthful advice is really a proverb. But a lot of people don't like advice. And a lot of people don't like truth. But understand, when your masters in your religious ceremonies tell you to turn to the book of Proverbs, they're telling you to turn to the book of Solomon, which is a book of some general truths and some general advice. Now, you shouldn't materialize Solomon. You should just apply the advice that he has. Get wisdom, get knowledge, but above all the getting, get understanding. Out of all 66 of those chapters, you must understand that getting the understanding is how you apply the knowledge. If you don't apply knowledge, it's not knowledge. If you have wisdom and you don't apply it, you didn't do any better. You're not any better. If you don't apply the knowledge that you get to your life and to your situations, are you better? So that's kind of like, if you know better, you should do better type thing. That type thing. There are a lot of cliches that really mean something. So back to the book of Proverbs. Proverbs is really a general statement with some truth. So I say to you, understand the statement, understand the truth, and apply it. So is the system getting mundane? Could I sell you the story of Jesus? Are your churches growing? Relevant inquiries. You know, we're seeking the personality of God. When you go to your churches and you're looking for something, you're seeking personality of which the one that you seek. You know, you're seeking the mind of God. You know, you're not going to enter into the kingdom unless you have a like mind. See, really, birds of a feather really do flock together. That's why in the universe you don't see blue jays and you don't see robins interacting, because they understand that if we interact together, there won't be any more blue jays and there won't be any more robins. And I want to be a blue jay. And the robin wants to be a robin. So you can see in the nature. That's why spirit is combined with nature, the cosmos and nature, because it's together. It's all relative. You know, time is of the essence. Time is relative. Your oppressor has not only been playing with your mind, but also playing with time. We understand that this show is called Use Your Weapon, but there's not just one weapon. We understand that. Your oppressor didn't just use illiteracy. He didn't just give you an Jesus and a religion and an education system to embody that lie that he's carrying. He gave you multiple systems. Every system that your oppressor has given you is the system mundane. Every system is failing. The education system, the economical system, the real estate system. Everything has peaks and valleys here. Nothing is successful. So it's really a narrative that they talk about. It's all a mind game. If they give you a different narrative about something tomorrow, then it's that. But the absolute does not change. It is what it is. And when I say absolute, there are things that we just cannot change. We are on a planet that rotates. We cannot change it. We cannot change the elements. We can use them and bend them to our will. But we cannot change fire. We don't know how it derives. We know how to create it if we need it. You see, when you understand the absolute, you understand that there is something prior to the something. Prior to me, the material that you see, there was a thought prior to me. And what we're speaking to is the thought, the personality of God. That's what we want. That's what we seek. The personality of God. So when we understand that the difference between the guru was just the obedience of it, or her. When you understand that God is duality, as above, so below. So when you understand these things, you understand that Christianity may not serve you. I understood that in some cases, some of us might be intellectual fools. I don't know. I'm not saying, but what I am saying to you is if you can't get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding because your God prevents you from getting common sense, knowledge. Your God prevents you from understanding the absolute. Your God is jealous of even the idea of understanding. There's no more gods above Jesus. So you got to just understand that Jesus understands and that's it. You can't really understand other than the fact that in the beginning. You can't even question it because if you question it, there's a fear that you can't even get an understanding of what you don't understand. Because there's a fear. You got a fear. intellectual property is really all you have. You can't take anything here, any land that you inherit or give away to your offspring. It's here with them. The intellectual landscape within is all you get to travel with. Do you understand something called quantum entanglement? It's relative. It's relative to time. And it says that there are something in the universe that is speaking to us here. And it's entanglement. It's entangled somehow. Quantum entanglement. Think about it. Look it up. It's fascinating. I enjoy it. It's a part of metaphysics. Relative inquiries. Remember that. Relative inquiries brings about relative energy into your own story. Remember, the assignment is you. That was another one of our catchy little, podcasts. When you realize that the assignment is you, when you realize that you're the hero in your story, and I'm almost done. When you understand that you have to yield to the understanding that the absolute has the mind of the supreme. You will never have the mind of God. Lean not to your own understanding. So understand that the Spirit continues to feed you. Anything not growing is dead. You will continue to grow. The universe itself continues to grow. It's not absolute. It's expanding. Ask any scientist right now. The universe itself is expanding. They don't even know how, where, what is it expand? They have no idea. But what they do know is based on density matter that's expanding. And because 70% of the universe is dark matter, they can't even see. And so once you have the concept of the absolute is going to be the absolute regardless of if you understand it or not. The mind of God is what you seek. And it will continuously keep you fed. So we talked about giving relative inquiries into the afterlife. We talked about yielding. We here at Use Your Weapon, we talk about spirituality. We talk about religion. We talk about the Bible. We talk about voodoo. We're not talking about it today, but we talk about voodoo. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I sit here with Papa Lekwa's drawing. I draw it often myself. I like to hand draw it. Is the system getting mundane? Can I sell you the story of Jesus today? So I'm almost done. Now we do understand that the Bible is just some principle authority, some poetry, some parables, some statements combined, with some short stories, some maxims, some wise maxims. We understand that the book of the Bible is really just some really beautiful passages with some truth, some knowledge, some understanding, but we take the knowledge and we apply it and we don't literize it. We don't materialize it. It is what it is. It's like reading any other book. You wouldn't materialize Humpty Dumpty, would you? I couldn't get you to go to look for Humpty Dumpty with me. Are your churches filling up? Can I come get you to go look with Jesus for me? Is the system mundane? Can we sell it today? Is it working for us today? Because really, you have to sell religion, because when you go into religious ceremonies, you have to give offerings. You have to give offerings. Do you understand what this is? That's why I like the voodoo, because it is giving you what they're doing in the spirit, in the flesh. Give an offering. In voodoo, they offer animals sometimes. Now, they've taken your offerings in money. And I'm not saying we're offering animals, but what I'm saying to you is you have to recognize curses. And if you don't recognize curses, then you have to recognize habitual activity. If you're not a curse, you're at least habitual in your actions. When you go to the same churches and sit in the same pews on the same day, in the same car with the same people, sing the same songs, reading not the same books, this is very ritualistic. And if it's not ritualistic, it's at least habitual. And these are facts. These are not spirit. These are facts. These are actual procedures that they put in place to give you spirit. Because you're at least habitual in your actions. And people will say, yeah, do not fail to assemble yourself. But are we not assembling ourselves right here? And I understand getting together. That's not the point. But because I don't call out, we can't worship together. Because in honesty, there's only one God that's going to show up through it all. There's only one real McCoy. And that's the beauty of understanding logic. Why are we this and why are we that here on this earth? Because at the end of the day, there's only one that can show up. There's only one power, energy. We understand that energy is really what we're talking about. You and I are the light of the world. We want to turn into light. What keeps your oil? Your oil of wisdom, your manna. What keeps you in this life? Where do you get it from? Where do you get your oil from? If we haven't understand anything, that everything on this planet needs a little oil. Where do you get it from? I'm almost done here. This is Use Your Weapon. Please like, share, and subscribe. It would really help. Now, when you come on the path of spirituality and you want to remove religion and you want to get on spirit, it's going to feel lonely. Because some of the people on the path look like you. They're family members. Strongholds and generational curses and ties, they're going to look like and feel like something very familiar. Because they were tied and holding on to you. The only way that it can continue is to latch on to the next generation, the next generation, and the next generation, and the next generation. Generational curses. Strongholds. So if you're the one in the story that's supposed to be breaking strongholds and breaking generational curses, it might feel a little lonely. But remember, in your good book, it says, you're never alone. I will never leave you alone. That's when you understand that you are all on spirit. Spirit will never leave you alone. In your good books, it tells you that God is omnipresent. He's everywhere. She's everywhere, in everything and all things. Omnipresent. Omnipotent. Everywhere. So whatever you need the spirit to be, it can be. Possess it. You know, when you pick up spirit, you pick up your gifts. In your good books, it tells you to stir them up. Stir up your gifts. Easier said than done, right? Almost done here. So the spirit of the Most High, you understand that you must yield to it. You understand that you will never have the mind of the Most High. You did not create it. The most supreme intelligent is the intelligent that created all intelligence. Excuse me. The supreme intelligence, the most intelligent entity here on this dispensation, on this rock, the most intelligent entity here doesn't even have the mind of God. So once you understand that, you will never understand the absolute. You will always understand that the absolute created everything and everything is it. So you can use it to your advantage and understand that you can embody it. You can possess it. You can sound your own trumpet and you can stand on it. But you can never be it. And because you're understanding that you're on this borrowed energy, you understand that there is a supreme. And if you don't understand, if Jesus makes more sense to you, stay there. Because we're talking about a little bit of metaphysics. We're talking about a little bit of literality. We're materializing it. We're going a little bit of everywhere because we understand that confusion happens in every system. And we have to talk about it relative. We have to go everywhere and clear out the path of confusion. So we understand the word relative means everything is relative. From the food that you eat, to the food that you put inside your body for clarity. When you eat, the food that you give your body to process it, it helps clarity or it hurts clarity. Now, these are facts. These are things that Dr. Sebi was talking about eons ago, or years ago. I wouldn't say eons ago, but Dr. Sebi is an old soul, so he's been around before. And will continue to be around. As I repeat, his knowledge, he lives within me. The information is in my cognitive memory, that I may recall it when I need it. It's kind of like in your books, put the scriptures on the tables of your heart, so that you can recall them when you need them for your name's sake. Almost done. Next week's topic is going to be about dreams. See, I'm a survivor of child abuse, and I had a dream about 4 or 5 years ago. And in my dream, I realized that there was some truth. See, I had a dream, and I wouldn't even say it was a dream. It was, if you have lucid dreams, it means that you have visions. Not so much dreams. I wasn't completely asleep. So when I asked the Spirit says you have visions in your head, in your bed. Okay. So when you talk about dreams, dream is closest thing to your body dying. Now, remember I said your body, not your mind, because you are in the dream. Your mind, you're not conscious, but you're in the dream. Your body, you've left the body and you're in the dream. That's when you are solidly dreaming. But when you're in a lucid dream, you are having visions. You're not quite asleep. You're not quite up. It's kind of like when that alarm clock goes off and you kind of snoozing. So I had one of those. So we're going to talk about dreams. We're going to talk about what they mean. We're going to talk about how you feel in the dream and when you come out the dream. We're going to talk about why we dream and what does it mean to dream. And we should write it down. Start to, if you're a big dreamer, put a notebook by your bed and start to just jot down key things in your dreams, because I'm telling you, it's relative. And I keep saying that word because you got to understand everything's relative. Your past, your present, where you are, and your future. If you have an idea, if you have a goal, you have a future, it's all relative right now. Your past, present, and future are relative to your now. Relative inquiries into the afterlife. So we're going to talk about dreams, and we understand that dreams is your closest place to being in the afterlife. So next week's topic is dreams, lucid dreams, and I would like for you to share your dreams with me. I'm going to share one dream I had when I threw myself off of a building. That's how my journey to spirituality happened, through a dream. So I say to you, be blessed, give honor where honor is due. We talk about, spirituality, and I talk about voodoo on this channel. This channel is about spirit and religion, and we talk about the Bible, we talk about ancestors, we talk about voodoo, we talk about a lot of things here. We talk about our journey past Jesus on this channel. And if you are looking for spirit, and if you want a little advice on how I found spirit with understanding what my internal dependencies were. Not what I depend on the outside, but what I depended on the inside. What did it for me? Out of all the oppression that we've seen and all that we see currently, because today is yesterday and it's still happening, the only way out is to transcend. Because is the system mundane? Are you living in the mind of people who oppressed you, who set up systems that you are now functioning in? These are questions, these are relative inquiries. So with these relative inquiries, I say to you, think about it. So dreams next week, what and why, and what they mean. Dreams. I like dreaming. I think dreaming is fascinating. You learn something in your dreams. So let's close this today with, is the system mundane? Could I sell you the story of Jesus? Are your churches growing? Are you walking out of your churches with spirit? Spirit is, again, the knowledge that exists before the material. Because the knowledge brings about the material. Spirit is the knowledge that exists before the concept of the material. And we're looking for the personality of God, the Godhead. the most supreme Godhead. So, dreams in the absolute world, because that's what you're dreaming at. You're dreaming in the absolute world. In the world of absolute. That's where, when you dream, that's where you went. And you know why? Because you don't die in your dreams. Even when you have dreams of falling, there are so many people that fall in their dreams. Some people have dreams of flying. So in the absolute, you don't die. So that lets you know that you don't die. Your dreams are telling you something. And even if you don't understand dreams, you understand even in your Christianities or in your churches, you understand that you're not dying. You're either going to heaven or hell. But you're not dying. So you're going to live another dream anyway. Counterintuitiveness, often nevertheless contrary to what you think it's true. Common sense. Counterintuitiveness. So is the system getting mundane? Next week's topic is dreams. Dreams. So Use Your Weapon is about spirituality. We're about religion. We talk about the Bible because the Bible is one of the greatest books of wisdom. And it's one of the books that most of my melanated people know because the oppressor gave it to them. And so when you're trying to set a certain group of people free, you have to get on their level. And most of us come from Christianity and Islam. So I say to you, have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you for joining Use Your Weapon. And like, share, and subscribe. My name is The Epiphanist. I can't wait to see you next Saturday. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.